lowest price ever on radio or TV. You get a 2-pack of My Pillow's premium pillows, $69.98. That's only $34.99 per pillow. Now, this offer is only available at mypillow.com or call toll-free 800-919-6090. Just use the promo code Hannity. My Pillow, made in the USA, 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. Don't spend more sleepless nights on a pillow not working for you. MyPillow.com, promo code Hannity, 800-919-6090. You'll get a 2-pack premium pillows, $69.98. That's only $34.99 per pillow. MyPillow.com, promo code Hannity.
From America's best-selling automobile to the world's toughest trucks, there's a reason why customers are driving from Youngstown, Boardman, Austintown, Hermitage, even Cleveland and Pittsburgh. So come and find out for yourself at our all-new state-of-the-art facility on Route 46. See you at Toyota of Warren.
For lunch and special occasions, it's Overture's Restaurant with chef extraordinaire Jeff Crystal, downtown next to the Dior Performing Arts Center.
All right, welcome back, everybody, or welcome, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and we get to do this here on Saturday. Talk about things that are happening in tech and science and business, all those interesting topics. I open up the floor to all of you, and if you want to call or text or email or any of that stuff to get a hold of me and contribute in the show, that's always, it's amazing when you guys post your topics, and we can kind of talk about it and throw these topics out into the public domain and have everybody jump on them and see how everybody feels about it. What's nice about it is we still have, and especially with AM radio, we have this sort of public discussion on all things where really nothing's off limits, and we get lots of smart people that get together and we just hash things out. And I think we're ultimately at our best when we're able to throw these topics out there and just let us tear them apart. I mean, sometimes it gets exhausting. I mean, even me, the political and talk radio junkie that I am, just it takes a lot out of your soul to really throw your passion behind how you feel about things. And but the more we do that, the more perspectives we bring to the table, the better off we become. And technology is an easy one because it's not polarizing, right? It's happening, and if you're good at it, you make use of it like any other tool, and you become more productive. And if you don't do it, you fall a little bit further behind. So everybody sort of wants to and knows the need to advance in the technological sphere. But other spheres, like relational spheres, I mean, it's tough to even measure, the metrics on what makes an advancing, relationship. We watch a lot of sci-fi, sci-fi movies, and they clearly paint a picture of stories that very well could be. I mean, going back even to the 50s and 60s, when you watch sci-fi, a lot of the things that they were talking about at the time, were far-fetched at the time. But now we kind of see that those things are coming to fruition because they're pretty easy to predict. Just like we changed our culture, right? We have really, really remote places, and even places that you wouldn't even think about remote. They are now not as remote as they used to be. So you have a country in South America that you would have no interaction with ever, right? But because of the internet and video and audio and transportation, you can visit and you could be, have some interactions with parts of the world that you would never otherwise have interactions with. And so, what we're going to talk about today is sort of us deciding sort of the standards by which we want to stick to, because basically when you live in a very safe and very, I'm going to say safe is probably your best word. So you have a safe neighborhood, right, where everybody unlocks their doors or sleeps with their doors unlocked, and everybody trusts everybody else, close knit and whatever, right? Well, they're also usually pretty isolated when you have 5 people living in your neighborhood and you know them all by first name and you all look out for one another and you all trust one another. Where you're safe, you're also pretty limited because now you're only limited to those 5 people. So let's just say, let's speed things up and drop some more people in your neighborhood that you maybe don't know, right? Now you have more intellect and you have more experience and you have more skill sets that come to your neighborhood. But now your safety goes down a couple notches, right? Because you don't know these people, you don't trust these people, and they don't trust you. They have less in common with you than, they used to. So maybe now You have to lock your doors a little bit. Now your neighborhood and your cultures have changed just because you wanted the good, where you wanted the advancement in a culture because of the other skill sets. But the bad is that it becomes more risky. And so deciding when someone enters the neighborhood what standards you want to lay out so that you can still continue to have a culture is what's important. So what the internet did to us is it connected us with all people. And when your grandma starts using the internet, your grandma's going to trust everybody like they do trust everybody in the neighborhood and their family and whatnot, because their world is kind of small. But then you trust somebody and having a conversation when you hear, hey, your grandma tells you, hey, I'm talking with someone in Uganda via the internets, right? What are you going to think? Well, this is probably a scammer where grandma has no idea that she's being pulled into a scam. But you're pretty sure that the Ugandan who's befriending your grandma is probably has ill intentions. And how do we know this? Well, because not all cultures and rules are shared outside of the boundaries of not only the divisions of cities and counties, but states and regions and continents. And, the further you go outside of where you're at, the different it will be, different rule books that are being played from, different, economies that are governing. And so it's important to know that when we embark on these technical advancements, that we have genuinely know that things are going to change because of it, just like in our neighborhood. And if we set the guidelines and rules of what's important to us, that we're not willing, I like leaving my door unlocked, and I'm not going to double back on that, then that means that I have to be able to trust everybody in my neighborhood. And then the rule that you create because of that desire means that people come in your neighborhood, even if there's a doctor who can cure cancer, right? You want that skill set, but you don't know if you can trust the doctor that can cure cancer. So what do? You have a quandary. And we're faced with these quandaries because every culture is going to bring something very valuable with it, but also something that flies in the face of your own culture. So when you homogenize all of these cultures, you end up with something, and that's what I'm saying. We have to have these considerations. So I'm going to probably come back a little bit later and talk about, we're going to sniff out some of these scams that might happen to our grandma. I'll wait until a little bit later in the show to do that. But here's sort of what spawned this whole conversation. I watched a movie. Okay, so first off, let me say I was loading a server, okay? And it's been a while since I personally loaded the server, but I'm loading a server, right? And I just wanted to, I started loading servers and working with servers way back in, I think the first version, what the heck was it? Maybe 2003 was the first server, probably. Or no, NT server was the first one that I started working with. So, I've done the whole server thing. I've done the setup thing. I've implemented all the server roles and whatnot. But this is the first really modern server that I've touched. And so when I started working on it, literally the wizards in loading the server took all of the brain power out of the person that's sitting behind the server. It could almost be done by a complete novice from start to finish. I powered it on, and the wizards detected it, and they made decisions for you, and they already filled in most of the stuff. Now, you could make alterations and advanced features, but pretty much if you would have just next, you would have had a server that was running that could let you do stuff. So somebody who thinks that, or buy their own server, who says, I'm not going to go through a computer company, they could literally buy a server and pretty much do the whole thing themselves. And so I was discussing this with my wife today. I said, this is amazing. It's awesome, amazing, and scary all at the same time. That the computer knows what it needs already for the most part, and can make itself functional by just having anybody. And literally, you didn't have to have much knowledge to be able to get this. I literally plugged a couple of things in. So if you have to plug a keyboard, a mouse, a monitor, a power cord, right? And put a CD disc in a CD tray and hit a power button. That's as advanced as you needed to be able to load this server. The rest of it was, it kind of went through wizards, and you just answered simple questions, and the questions were already pre-answered. You just had to hit next, or you could have made changes if you wanted to. But anyway, and I thought, it's going to be just the software and the hardware aren't really going to need you to load it, right? It's going to be technology is going to know what it needs to be loaded, and you're just a formality that right now is part of the system. What about when servers can load other servers? And so that you could see how that kind of like spawned its own thought path where, we watched a movie called I Am Mother on Netflix. It's a sci-fi deal. And I don't want to spoil it. So if you haven't seen it yet or don't want me to spoil it for you, so the whole premise of it is that there's a war between machines and human beings, which, okay, we've painted that picture before with The Matrix and, ton of other movies. But in this case, the war pretty much extinct or made extinct all of humanity. So everybody killed off. All the people were killed off. But there's this underground bunker where after everybody, all human beings were extinct, that we would take some embryos, 63,000 embryos, and we would start bringing humanity back. But not just any humanity. We would take the embryos and I would say a robot would take humanity and reintroduce them in the world. But they weren't going to just bring any humanity. They were going to test and challenge and make sure that human being, what they determined was a good human being before they'd let it out in the wild. And so, we took, as you went through the movie, you saw what you thought was the first version of humanity, and in reality, it was like the fourth version. The first four were aborted, got through a certain point. They couldn't, learn like the machines wanted them to learn, or they weren't what the machines thought made a good human being, and they were burned. They were put into an incinerator and destroyed. And it was the fourth one that was smart and sensitive and had all of the attributes the machines thought would make a good human being, and that one was progressing. But the whole thing was, so I was talking to my wife about that. I said, you know what, watching that movie and then experiencing the server that could almost make more servers, right? We're real close to that happening where human beings aren't necessarily going to need to be involved. I mean, we're offloading a lot of our those things to machines anyway. The robotics that build our stuff, the software is going to be able to do that. But I started talking about NeuroNet, right? And NeuroNet is sort of like what is required first before the whole thing can start interacting with human beings, because the NeuroNet is what's going to govern. Because in the state of artificial intelligence, it's usually not one. It's not like a binary thing. It's a percentage when you start accumulating data points that point to a certain thing. So I put it to my wife like this. So there will be a point where your personal device orders something that you need, right? Paper towels per se. So if you needed paper towels, it would start writing conditions in which you would naturally order paper towels. So it would wait till, how long it's been since the last time you ordered paper towels. What time, if you started walking around talking about cleaning, what state of mind you were in, what you've done recently, what your schedule looks like. And it would start weighing all of these things that exist in your life. And then through adding percentage chances, it might order paper towels when it thinks it's right. Now, where this will work or not work, if paper towels start coming exactly when you would need them, you're not going to fight it. So the more correct it is, which I have a feeling that it could be very, very correct, the more correct it is, the more we will let it. Now, if it orders paper towels and you're like, what? Why'd that show up? Then you will reject it, and it's not something that you will accomplish. You're going to be confused by it. You're going to be a little weirded out by it. But as long as its accuracy is pretty good. So let's just say if you say, hey, well, what do you guys want to eat tonight? And then your devices start making suggestions about food. I mean, that was a right piece of information that would not weird you out. It would be helpful because it would be delivering something that you were just talking about, right? That would be it'd be valued by your mind very high because something you needed was delivered by one of your devices. So as these neural nets, as these things start, your phone's collecting stuff on you, your email's collecting stuff on you, your Google's collecting stuff on you, Alexa's collecting stuff on you, everybody knows a lot of stuff about you. It's going to be fairly soon that things are going to start to be able to make decisions for you because they have enough information to be able to predict what it is that you're going to do, especially if they're sitting behind you, watching you do it for a while. They can make, we think we're random, but we're pretty methodical. We're pretty predictable. And so if it makes these, I used this example a couple weeks ago. We would always go to Hermitage and we would do, I want to say it was the Christmas, walkthrough thing where you'd go to, what the heck's that place to sell Christmas trees? Anyway, that you know what I'm talking about over in Hermit's. But anyway, we do that Christmas Lane thing, and we would always show up on the same exact day. And it was always the day that they have the parade over there, because we'd always say, hey, we thought we were picking a day like on a Thursday, and it would always be on the day that they're running this parade and everything would be busy. So we'd always pick that same day. When we thought it was just a random thing. Hey, I've got a good idea. Let's do this. But anyway, so if our technology can start picking through the data of our decisions and our speech and our engagements and all that kind of stuff, it could start making pretty good decisions about what it is that we're going to be able to do. But just like that remote village in Africa, the culture or the rules are going to be different. We think it's going to be the same. We think that the droids are going to treat us how human beings would treat us, with ethics and value. Well, what conclusion would a droid come about whether or not you want to live or die? The droid didn't care that they incinerated the first 3 revisions of a human being. The droid cared that this was an imperfect human being and incinerated them, and I bet you that didn't feel bad. So anyway, we'll talk more about this stuff. Joe, I see you out on the phones. We'll take your call as soon as we get back from this break. 330-729-9977. We can text 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
From iHeartRadio, #1 for podcasts, Tech Stuff.
I'm Jonathan Strickland, host of the podcast Tech Stuff. I want to share with you stories about tech, old and new. Tech Stuff takes a close look at the biggest names and companies in tech, from Nikola Tesla to IBM. I look at how tech works and how it affects us. Listen to and follow Tech Stuff on the iHeartRadio app or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hear an episode of Tech Stuff Wednesday night at 7 on News Radio 570 WKBN.
Hey, it's Ron Burp for Nature Stone. Never replace your garage flooring again. Let's eliminate puddling, standing water. No more slipping. Let's cover uneven concrete so no more tripping. Nature Stone eliminates the safety hazards. Whatever you do, don't paint your floor. It's the same junk that just doesn't work. And with Nature Stone, no other company or product can match the features, benefits, warranty of an authentic Nature Stone brand floor. Get Nature Stone installed in your garage by the end of June. Get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today at naturestone.com.
It's happening to you every night. One snores and the other can't sleep. But now, there is a quick and easy-to-use solution, a natural solution. Snore Stop, the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S.
Thank you, Snore Stop. You saved my marriage.
It's time to try Snore Stop and make every night a better night for both of you. Spray or tablets are available today at Rite Aid and CVS or online at snorestop.com.
Get your MLB All-Star experience at Play Ball Park, running July 5th through 9th. See the stars of the game, meet baseball legends and Hall of Famers. Step into a virtual reality batter's box. Enjoy live music, feast on local cuisine, buy official gear, and ride the MLB All-Star zip line. Join the fun at Play Ball Park, July 5th through 9th at Huntington Convention Center and the malls. For more information, visit allstargame.com.
Burnett Pool's financing event is happening right now. Take advantage of 0% APR for 60 months on all new hot tubs and above-ground swimming pools. Now's the time to own a hot spring spa, the world's #1 selling hot tub brand, or the perfect time to choose your new swimming pool. Visit Burnett Pool's locations in Cortland, Canfield, and Newcastle, or online at burnettpools.com. With low monthly payments on approved credit, it's easy to step into a new hot tub or above-ground pool.
Burnett Pools, we've got it all.
If our plant closes down, it'll close down an entire community. All the jobs will be gone if something isn't done to stop them.
Senator Sean O'Brien can save our jobs in Ohio, for Ohio.
The plants provide thousands of jobs for families.
Over 4,000 Ohio energy jobs are at risk if the plants close.
That'll kill our community. Thousands will lose their jobs. We need your help.
Senator O'Brien can protect jobs, save communities, lower electric bills, and produce energy in Ohio. By passing House Bill 6, we will have an 88% reduction in mandated energy costs over the next 6 years and save an average of $100 per year on our electric bill. Senator O'Brien, families need your help before June 30th.
Will you help us?
Ask Senator Sean O'Brien to pass House Bill 6 before summer break. 614-466-7182. More jobs, lower bills for Ohio. Paid for by Generation Now, Inc.
Hi, folks. Scott Jones here from Youngstown Propane Fireplace and Patio. Ready to kick off another spring outdoor grilling season. As always, we've got all the best names like Weber, the All-American made MHP grill, the charcoal burning Big Green Egg, and the new Rogue by Napoleon, which is exclusive to Youngstown Propane, an absolute must-see. And for a limited time, assembly and delivery is absolutely free. 37 years in the Valley, get your grill from the pros at YoPro. That's Youngstown Propane Fireplace and Patio on Route 224 in Canfield.
Great planting beds start with fresh mulch from Altiers Home and Garden Center. Start with Altiers' very popular double shredded brown mulch or their color enhanced double shredded mulch in black, brown, and red tones. Now is also the time to start prepping your garden soil. Altiers makes it easy with leaf compost or mushroom compost. Haul the mulch or compost yourself or ask Altiers about their same-day delivery. Call today, get it today. Open 7 days a week. Altiers Home and Garden Center, South Avenue at the corner of McClurg Road in Boardman.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. Let's get a quick call in here before we continue on with our artificial intelligence and NeuroNet. Let's go to Joe next. Joe, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
I've got a silly question for you.
I'm ready for you.
What's the difference between a server and a conventional computer that we all use? Is it the software, the hardware, or what is it?
Yeah, it's the operating system. So the operating system is a server operating system. Now, you talk about servers as two things. You have a server role, and then you have a server operating system. Okay, so usually I can take a workstation and give it a server role, like I can serve data from it. That means I take a portion of the hard drive and I let other computers be able to get to that portion of the hard drive. That would be a server role. A server operating system means a whole piece of software that knows and thinks and delivers like it's a server. It knows it's in command and things are going to be coming to it and it has to deliver content. Where a regular workstation where it can serve those roles, it's not a true server.
Okay, that basically answers it for me, Joe. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate the phone call. Appreciate you being out there. And reason being is, and this is sort of the world of technology sort of steps up, right? So if you have an environment that's small, and in my world, anything less than 10 devices is considered a small environment. You really don't need to get into server really specific products, things that, big servers for less than 10 users is usually, overkill, where you can have a workstation play that role until your business or your home or the device count gets above that 10. And then above the small would be considered like small business, and then there's enterprise above that. So it's a scaling thing where you need to be able to have more people participate in an environment, and you need more sophisticated hardware and software to be able to let them participate and not have a degradation in performance or ability or whatnot. So thanks for the phone call. Appreciate that. So the second part of the question that my wife and I were talking about is if we have all these machines that are standing behind us, watching us, and learning from us, that's like the key part. The saddest part or the scariest part is that even though we know what we want virtues to be, we know what humanities we want machines to follow, will the machines see us participate or are providing those humanities or using those humanities when we engage other people? If they're going to be learning from us, are we good enough people to be able to teach robots what we want? Or are they going to see us doing things and we're going to have to say, no, don't do what I just did, like teaching a robot how to lie or not to lie, right? But then robots see us do is justifying things that are untrue, and with really good reasons, but maybe that's what humanity does. And I thought, this is the worst time in humanity. I would rather the pilgrims be teaching what, the devices to do rather than today's society and what we're willing to put up with. Because I think even though we know what virtues are, I think very rarely do we implement them and wield them and hold society and our culture to account on what those virtues are. All right, more calls after this break, 330-729-9977. You can text me 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
Summer's here, and it's the perfect time to save money with new Pella energy-efficient windows. Hi, I'm Denise DeFala. Pella has double and even triple pane products designed and tested to keep the cool air in and the heat and sounds out. Right now, save $125 on select windows or take advantage of 48 months no-interest financing. Save 25% on entry doors and patio doors. Call 877-98-PELLA or visit PellaYoungstown.com.
Here's what's happening. The attorney for Buckeye Horse Park thought there were just minor issues to be settled on a new lease with Mill Creek Metro Parks. However, park commissioners voted Thursday to stop negotiations. 27 First News reports attorney Daryl Markajon represents the horse park. He says this weekend a big pony show had been planned but was canceled when the horse park's lease with Mill Creek Metro Park was not renewed. After Metro Parks commissioners requested further negotiations, Markajon says a May 14th meeting produced what he thought were the makings of a deal. The Metro Parks Board of Commissioners, after hearing from Executive Director Aaron Young, decided to end those negotiations with the horse park. Markajon says he'll not recommend taking the issue to court and does not know if the horse park will eventually rent the property and use it for shows. The woman charged with murder in the shooting death of a man in Sharon last month is being held in the Mercer County Jail. 20-year-old Alexis Holmes did not enter a plea yesterday. The Newcastle woman's charged with criminal homicide in 24-year-old Khalil Hobson's death. Her bond was set at $2 million. She'll be back in court on June 26. The Trumbull County Coroner's Office is reporting that in the first 3.5 months of this year, nearly twice as many people have died from drug overdoses compared to the same time last year. As of April 15th, there were 36 confirmed overdose deaths in Trumbull County. Last year, there were 14. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 2. Need an AC checkup? Call Mazda's Air Conditioning in Girard, 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Skies remaining partly sunny throughout the day with a high to low 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low 60. Sunday, more clouds than sun. An isolated shower or a storm possible in the late afternoon or evening, the high near 80. Cloudy chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm Sunday night, a low 65. And showers and storms likely on Monday with a high 78.
It's a night with two rock legends under the stars at the new Youngstown Foundation Amphitheater. Michael Stanley and the Resonators, and Donnie Iris and the Cruisers. Saturday, June 15th at the Youngstown Foundation Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now at the Cavelli Center box office, livenation.com or ticketmaster.com. Part of the Northern Ohio Honda Dealers Concert Series. Produced by Live Nation and JAC Live.
Hi, folks. Steve Bott from Mark Thomas Ford. This month, we are honoring those who serve with some extra special rebates. Tell them what's going on, Davey.
All military veterans and first responders get up to an additional $750 off, plus 0% financing is available, and no payments for 90 days.
And don't forget, we have guaranteed credit approval, the Mark Thomas Promise. Combine those all together, David, and we have some of the best deals of the year. Stop out and see us at Mark Thomas Ford. We're 2 miles north through 82 Bypass on Elm Road in Cortland, Ohio, or check us out on the web at markthomasford.com.
Did you know that there is a new victim of identity theft every 2 seconds? It means a criminal could be spending your money, applying for loans in your name, and even damaging your good credit, all without you even knowing. It's a good thing there's LifeLock identity theft protection. LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats, like your social security number for sale on the dark web. And if you do have an issue involving identity theft, one of LifeLock's identity restoration specialists is going to work with you to fix it. Now, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but with LifeLock, you get identity theft protection and additional features to help protect your devices against cyber threats for as low as $9.99 a month. So visit LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RUSH. Save an extra 10% off your first year. That's LifeLock.com. And don't forget the name RUSH as the promo code.
If our plant closes down, it'll close down an entire community. All the jobs will be gone if something isn't done to stop them.
Senator Michael Ruley can save our jobs in Ohio for Ohio.
The plants provide thousands of jobs for families.
Over 4,000 Ohio energy jobs are at risk if the plants close.
That'll kill our community. Thousands will lose their jobs.
We need your help.
Senator Ruley can protect jobs, save communities, lower electric bills, and produce energy in Ohio. By passing House Bill 6, we will have an 88% reduction in mandated energy costs over the next 6 years and save an average of $100 per year on our electric bill. Senator Ruley, families need your help before June 30th.
Will you help us?
Ask Senator Michael Ruley to pass House Bill 6 before summer break. 614-466-8285. More jobs, lower bills for Ohio. Paid for by Generation Now, Inc.
It's happening to you every night. One snores, and the other can't sleep. But now, there is a quick and easy-to-use solution. A natural solution. Snore Stop, the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S.
Thank you, Snore Stop. You saved my marriage.
It's time to try Snore Stop and make every night a better night for both of you. Spray or tablets are available today at Rite Aid and CVS or online at snorestop.com.
Summer is approaching. Now it's time to kick things off right and heat up your summer dating strategy the right way with the Match app. Match has created millions of love stories. #1 in first and second dates, #1 in marriages, and when it comes to making babies, well, over 1 million are on the planet because of Match. The Match app actually gives you the chance to carefully review profiles versus quickly flipping through them. And you can view photos, read more about the people you see, build that early connection with that person who could be your forever person. Try for yourself. Download the Match app for free today.
Just ahead, more stimulating talk from the O'Charlie's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charlie's.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show. You, all of you out there, if you have any questions or have anything you want me to talk through and walk through, give us a call, 330-729-9977. Text messenger said Cranax was the company that I was looking for in Hermitage, so thank you. You guys are the best audience. You just ask a question, and everyone, there are tons of really smart people in this audience that will constantly mull this over, and if I don't have personal experience with something, there's somebody out in this audience that does. And that's why we just kind of throw it out there and then wait for someone to hit on it. And usually we get pretty much every answer to any question you could ever think of just from this audience alone. So really happy that how what the depth of this audience really is. Another thing, does Alexa call the cops by just overhearing a crime? It's a good question. There's a couple articles that I read a couple months ago about the cops then crime's committed, and the cops go to Amazon, and they have the court release some of the overheard stuff that was recorded. So it's possible that since it is a recording device, that it might pick up on something, but I don't think that it could call the cops. I don't think it could call the cops by hearing a crime. Maybe in the future. Again, this is like if it was part of the neural network. And everything that it interprets, hears, sees, and whatever, it can make decisions. As long as it can predict them, like you fall and get hurt, and the ambulance shows up, and nobody's going to complain about that. So it will be society and culture will adopt it because it was successful. But if it's wrong, that's when we start objecting to it. So if we trust a system that always gets the bad guy, but one time doesn't get the bad guy, puts an innocent person, then we lose faith in the system, and then we don't let the system work anymore. And as long as we know getting into this stuff, we have these rule sets before we get started, then we know before it happens that the rules are important to the success of the system. And it's not until after an innocent man was condemned that we say, oh, now it's a problem. I'm going to tell you right now, our machines don't ever or always work right. This whole Tesla thing that we're experiencing with autopilot, we're on the precipice of it being a car being able to drive itself, which means so far so good. But every time an autopiloted Tesla crashes, then we say, I mean, we could have had 47,000 crashes at the hand of a human being, but one crash by the autopilot, and then it gives our, at least if we're going to crash, let it be my fault, not because of the car, not because of the steering, not because of the other driver, not because of autopilot. It's going to be my fault. That's what we like. We like it to be, if we're going to make mistakes, we want it to be our mistakes. We don't like paying mistakes for something else. And if someone's life is taken from them because of the mistake of another person, that's where we get and mistrust. And the people who invented and are working with these artificial intelligence networks, they mistrust this stuff. They see what happens. You can't stop it now. Our devices need to advance to stay up with our demands, but they know it's dangerous, and so should you. And not from a George Norrie, conspiracy theorist. I don't think this technology is going to be out to get you or programmed to get you. I don't think we're going to use these devices to put innocent people. I think it's because of our neglect to how important this is to get it right and the rules that want to govern it. I told you guys last week, my Tesla basically learns from me how I go through traffic. So when the Tesla starts misbehaving in traffic and I'm mad at it that it's not doing the right thing, it learned it from me, right? I was bad in traffic. It saw me bad in traffic. And now I have to do it enough times right for it to relearn the right way of doing it. So am I mad at it or am I mad at myself? Well, I'm mad at myself. The examples that I set in front of the technology to learn from were flawed. And that's what's going to happen with these, the science fiction movies. They all depict the villains as being the droids. Well, the droids are only going to have the programs that we give them. If we can't, work ourselves out so that we make the advancements safe enough so that both these machines and human beings can exist without one thinking the other one is expendable, right? If we can do that, we got serious smart people in this country, and if we wait too long, it's going to be too late because half of the technology is already going to be governed by, whose rule set do you want the technology? I'll ask you this: whose rule set is current technology using? Like, you should be able to plaster on a board that says, here is what everyone has agreed to make sure this technology is doing. We want to make sure that it's all adhering to the 10 Commandments, right? Would that be a starting point? Or something that's separate. Somebody has to post on a wall that what we want, humanity to be, and then so that the machines also want to be. Versus, what are they now? Right now, I think the law is that machines can do no harm to human beings. Right? Do you know what's flawed with that rule? Is what we do when we create a rule, like we won't lie, no lies. It's not a binary thing with us. Because then what we do is we change the definition of what a lie is, and now to us, it's not considering a lie. So if you don't do no harm to human beings, but this human being was sick, but this human being was not great, but this human being was whatever, now you've gotten around a law. When in our culture, can we set up a rule that says no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter the situation, that we're going to apply this law to every single person without being able to opine, defend, right? We're not allowed to defend ourselves. It's a rule that applies to all people. Of course not. Our legal system's based on subjectivity with a connection to objectivity, right? We have evidence, but then we have lots of words that go behind that evidence. It's convincing. So all of that ends up being more marketing than it is, just evidence, binary, yes, no type of stuff. So that's where we get into problems where we can't even decide how to govern ourselves, but yet we're going to make rule sets for the things that serve us that are eventually going to get smarter than us and are going to learn from us, right? So that's, you paint this picture of how these droids interact with human beings, and it's not far-fetched to think that we're going to be judged by these machines. And there's going to be some of us that the machines decide are not very valuable to society. And some of them are going to, the machines are going to decide that you are evil and no longer a human being that has to be preserved and protected. So all these considerations, like, where's that rule set? Our devices are all setting up right now to serve us. And historically, from the 50s movies, when our devices start to serve us, that definition starts to change. It starts to evolve. Because serving us can be interpreted. And how best to serve me, does it mean by eliminating you? Because I would serve me really well if maybe you weren't here. And a machine would judge that. Anyway, so cool. It's a cool topic. I mean, it's a good one for sitting around the fire and talking about, but that's when you know that that's coming on the horizon and we don't have a rule set. I mean, who's going to be the first one that steps up and says, here it is, here's the rule set, and how many people are really going to follow it? We're at a technological crossroads right now with social media and the dispensing of information. We can't decide whether or not we want to set up rules that govern new or fake and real, right? Because we don't know what definitions of any of this are. There's this big debate over conservative speakers and how they're being censored on social media, right? Because I'll tell you this, what you think is one thing, there's another person in a society who thinks complete opposite of you, and neither of you are wrong. But both of you think the other one is wrong. Both of you are 100% convinced that the other guy is wrong and you're right, and they need to come see the light on your side. And the problem with that is, again, we're back to marketing again. In a free market, all ideas are on the table, right? We have very simple rules, and the rest of it is I have to persuade you. Everything has to, I persuade you that I'm a good guy. I have to persuade you that I know what I'm talking about. I have to persuade you that you can trust me. I have to persuade all of these things regularly. I don't ever want to get to the point where I don't have to convince you or persuade you, because that's when human nature is going to take over, and I'm not going to be a great guy. I always need to be able to prove myself. But we're in a part in society where, we're creating all these supervillains in one another. And, do you want the news to be biased? One part's going to say the news have never been biased, and there's another part that's going to say that news has always been biased. And you know who's right? Both. And it's just part of who we once were, and because we've connected in and made the dispensing of information easier, that we are able to, if we get to a point where someone's not giving us what we want, there's this path that generates around that person, and we can get to another source easier than we get at first. Well, the guy that did the end around, he's not happy, but everybody who, what we're talking about, some of these news sources. I mean, even going back to there was 3 network news channels for the longest time. So all 3 of them had pretty much control, a lock on what was said and done and what you read about. I can picture my dad watching 2 things growing up. He was reading the newspaper every night, and he was watching the news early in the morning. That's where he got all of his information. So what's our one-for-one with that? How do we get our information? Well, we get it everywhere. We hear it on the radio. We get it on our devices. We get these alerts that pop up in the middle of the day and tell us what's going on. We get it on social media when someone will post an article or a link to news that's happening on our relationship social media, and so we're inundated. We got more information than my dad had at the time. So who was right? My information is more plentiful, but I have to wade through the crap to get to the real stuff. His information was more simple, where he didn't have a lot of contradictory information because there was less sources that was coming from. So which is better? Would you rather have more, but more work I have to do to find out what's real, or him where he didn't have a choice? He had to believe what was there or not believe it. He couldn't check it in 5 different places. I feel more confident now than if I only had one source at the time. And maybe at the time he never thought that the news was ever bias or giving him any lack of information. But again, this is another thing that we haven't decided what we really want. We see it happening right in front of us and let me just plead my case on this here real quick, because I agree that sciences and polls and news can be skewed even unintentionally, because objectivity isn't really a taught thing. It's because it's the rest of us, we pick a team, we're team players, so objectivity isn't really valuable to us. But when you see what not being objective, if you start digging through evidence, and there's part of the evidence that you want to find versus not want to find, you could basically be a little bit blind to the subtleties of what you don't want to find and really put too much emphasis on the stuff that you do find. So when you report the evidence, it's skewed to a certain part of the segment. So I apologize for going too far on that, but again, these are things that we haven't necessarily weighed in on because we haven't decided what it is that we want. But I want to have unbiased, unregulated. Give me the details and let me weigh through it. I do not want to subcontract out a part of that weighing out process. I feel like I'm fairly good at saying if you benefit, if you're a scientist that benefits from the research, when you give me an opinion, I have to take that into consideration that you benefited from that research. So you wanted the research to show that your findings were a certain way because you get more research dollars, right? I have to take that into consideration because it's just the truth. You're going to be more pro than somebody who that takes away from your business. So if the business goes away because of the evidence that you find, then you're going to be anti, and I got to take that into consideration. But, the trust factor, we've talked about that over the years, is picking a source that you trust to help you make decisions about the information you're hearing, because we can't even determine what a truth is from anybody that we're talking to, because it's all marketing. It's one side, you go to a car dealership. When they're selling you a car, they're talking about the car in a certain way. When they're buying a car from you, they're talking about, could be the same car in a completely different way. They're pointing out the inadequacies or the flaws or whatever when they're buying the car from you every time. And you do the same thing. But when they're selling it to you, they're telling you the polished versions of everything that there is, and they can't help it. It's what they need to happen at the end of the sale. When they're buying from you, they want to pay less. When they're selling to you, they want you to pay more. And so all of the things that they say, they're not making anything up. They just want a different end out of it. And so, like I said, when you know that going into it, the information you hear is always going to become from an activist source. They want an end. So, Trump supporters, anti-Trump people, guess what their news articles are going to be slanted to, whether or not they can help it. Because if they see a news article or they see some news that, helps Donald Trump, right, and they don't like him, what are they going to do? And the other side, if they do like Donald Trump and they see a news article, so the guy that likes Donald Trump or is a pro Donald Trump, all their articles are going to skew it in a certain direction. So you're going to have to take a source over here and a source over here, average them down, and you'll probably get a better sense of where the truth is, somewhere in between those two things. But we kind of already know that, right? That's how we today's day and age, how we have to do most anything is know that no matter what, we have more activists than we have objective people. So you have to know how to take and find out why somebody's doing something before you can tell if they're telling the truth. 330-729-9977 or text me at 333-1570. Listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
Find huge savings now through Sunday during Menards Crazy Day Sale. Finish your projects with Rust-Oleum spray paints. Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover is $247 after rebate. Buy one Sun Moon Star Solar Light at $4.99 and get one free. Make your yard stand out with Forever Green Turf Food, $9.95. Relax in a hanging lounger, $129.99 after rebate. These deals are so crazy, they're available in store only while supplies last. So hurry in to save big during Menards Crazy Day Sale.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, folks. Scott Jones here from Youngstown Propane Fireplace and Patio. We've been in this valley now for 37 years, selling propane, fireplaces, grills, outdoor furniture, and so much more. If you haven't stopped in for a while, you got to stop by this season to check out our new selections of patio furniture, all the highest quality at great prices. We've also got fire pits to give you that warm, cozy feeling on those chilly nights. Or if an outdoor kitchen is on the horizon, we've got the perfect built-in grill for you. Youngstown Propane Fireplace and Patio on Route 224 in Canfield.
Of all the things I think about every day, stroke wasn't one of them. Then, my brother had one. My doctor said 4 out of 5 people who have a stroke never show symptoms, but 80% of strokes can be prevented when the risk is identified early. So I decided to get screened by Lifeline Screening. In about an hour, Lifeline Screening did a series of painless ultrasound screenings to look inside my arteries and determine my risk for stroke and cardiovascular disease.
If you're over 40, call Lifeline Screening now. For just $149, a savings of over 50%, you'll get a 5-screening package that can help detect the warning signs so you can help prevent a stroke or heart attack from happening to you.
When I got the results, I went to my doctor, who developed a treatment plan.
Lifeline Screening's community health screenings are coming to your neighborhood. Appointments are limited. Make yours now. Call 1-888-521-TEST. That's 1-888-521-TEST. 1-888-521-TEST.
There's no house like our house on a summer night.
The Indians looking for a little walk-off magic.
Here, the rules are a little different. You can stay up past your bedtime and be as loud as you want.
No doubt about it! Bomb Durant!
Because in this house, the game is always on.
And a mob scene at home plate!
Our house is at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario.
Cheer on the Tribe and get a Jose Ramirez cap courtesy of Sherwin-Williams on June 12th. Tickets available on Indians.com.
Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages?
Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away. It was so fast. Now I'm speaking Spanish. Woohoo!
No wonder Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Try it for yourself and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language, like Spanish, French, or more. You can try Babbel for free. Go to Babbel.com or download the app and try it for free. That's Babbel, Babbel.
Next to this morning. Maybe it's what you had for dinner last night.
Or how you're getting to work right now. It's invisible, but AI is already making decisions for us.
On Sleepwalkers, we're speaking with the smartest people in the world and taking you inside the headquarters of Facebook, the NYPD, and a secret lab at Google.
To find out what the AI revolution will mean for us.
iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, but don't take our word for it.
Find Sleepwalkers on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. In the next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about sniffing out some scammers. And these segments that I do are probably the most valuable in this show because not only a lot of you will directly be able to learn from this, but you'll also be able to help those in your family that you care about to get this information because it's not properly explained. When you hand the keys to technology to people who don't understand the risks that go along with it, a lot of times that they dabble in things and get themselves into trouble, and it's needless because just if you know how things work, it makes it a safer environment to participate. And we all want everyone that's out there to be able to use technology as a tool that enables, right? So that you're not just in the blind and you're not just waiting for that Ugandan to come through the door and sweet talk you into just doing something stupid, because those are blatant. And most of us in this audience don't fall victims to those because I've talked about them so many times that you see those pretty clear. But as society and technology evolves, those people get more clever and it gets harder to be able to sniff out what their intentions are and how they're taking advantage of people. So we see it from our end, the effective things. And here's what happens. You have a bad person in a remote part of the world that is trying to make money. And technology to them is a way to make money, right? Their governments or their city that they live in or the people around them, they don't have any other option or as easy an option as that computer that's sitting in their living room. And because they subscribe to different rules than you and I do, they're not going to feel bad when they take Americans' money. They don't care that you worked your whole life and put it in the bank and it's wrong and to steal and whatever. They just don't play that game like we do. We would feel bad. We would have genuine guilt from being able to take advantage of someone or whatnot. And they just don't. So we're going to spend some time talking about, some recent experiences of how they do it. So that bad person in the remote part of the world, when you shut off the way that they make their money, do you think they just say, oh, you know what? I can't do that anymore. Let me go get a real job. I'll dig some ditches. They just move on to another more sophisticated method of scamming people. And they go from one to the next to the next. So it might be one time that they're black marketing, selling hijacked information, and then that doesn't become that stops being lucrative. So they move on to ransomware and holding your things hostage, and then that gets fixed. And then they got an email scheme, and then they got an eBay scheme, and then they got this. It's this type of person that knows that this tool never ends, as to really an unlimited amount of people to be able to try to take advantage of. So we're going to spend the next hour, next segment at least, talking about how to explain this to novices so that they can consider this. All right, so 330-729-9977. If you got some examples, call me. 333-1570 is the text number. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be back.
Hey people, are you paying attention? Are you looking for a truck to use like a truck? Then why would you spend big money on a new one and beat the out of it? This is Joe Fire from Fireball Motors. Be smarter and spend less money on a better truck. We specialize in non-rusty West Coast trucks from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that are under 10 grand. We are located on Route 422, just an eighth mile from the PA border, or online at fireballtrucks.com. And remember, Fireball means four-wheel drive.
Quiet, comfort, and affordability. The most important things when choosing a place to live. Westchester Square Apartments offers something to fit every need and budget. 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, and studio apartments. They rent apartments, but they sell convenience. You can find luxury living at Westchester Executive Apartments, 1,200 square feet of upscale living with carports, or independent senior living at Westchester Commons, strategically located in the center of Austintown, right next to Route 11. For the perfect apartment, call 330-799-5758. Come and be a good neighbor in a community of good neighbors. Westchester Square Apartments, Austintown.
On AM and thousands of devices, including Amazon Echo, Google Home, and Sonos. With our iHeartRadio app, 570 WKBN, Youngstown. It's 2 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump reversing course on implementing tariffs on Mexican imports starting on Monday. That after he says both countries reached a deal on slowing the flow of migrants at the southern border. ABC's Tara Palmieri has more from the White House.
Mexico and U.S. officials emerging with a deal late Friday night after 3 days of frantic negotiations. The 11th hour deal comes as the president faced opposition from his own party. Trump threatened to increase the tariffs every month by 5% until they reached 25%, or until Mexico took steps to curb the flow of migrants. Both Democrats and Republicans feared U.S. consumers would bear the brunt of the cost.
Democratic candidates canvassing Iowa today. Pete Buttigieg, mayor of South Bend, Indiana, spoke at an event earlier for Des Moines teachers and weighed in on the U.S.-Mexico trade talks.
It was clear the administration itself hadn't really thought this through. They just went to the brink, frightened the markets, got a superficial concession, and then went right back to where we were. This is no way to manage our trade policy or our immigration policy.
U.S. and Russia exchanging blame after a ship from each navy nearly collided Friday. The U.S. ship and a Russian destroyer came within 50 to 100 feet of one another. The U.S. says it took emergency measures to avoid a collision, throwing all engines into reverse at full throttle. An investigation still underway. In Boston, Pride celebrations underway today there. Over the decades, the outing has swelled to 50,000 marchers and 750,000 spectators. Boston Pride President Linda DeMarco.
We want to show the youth today to move forward, keep the fight going till everybody has full equality.
It comes amid reports of 2 deadly attacks in the U.S., one in Detroit and the other in Atlanta. Police say there Ronald Peters was killed when a man in a mask jumped out of a car and shot him. They're now turning to the public for help. You're listening to ABC News.
Here's what's happening. The attorney for Buckeye Horse Park thought there were just minor issues to be settled on a new lease with Mill Creek Metro Parks. However, park commissioners voted Thursday to stop negotiations. 27 First News reports attorney Daryl Markajon represents the horse park. He says this weekend a big pony show had been planned but was canceled when the horse park's lease with Mill Creek Metro Park was not renewed. After Metro Parks commissioners requested further negotiations, Markajon says a May 14th meeting produced what he thought were the makings of a deal. The Metro Parks Board of Commissioners, after hearing from Executive Director Aaron Young, decided to end those negotiations with the horse park. Markajon says he'll not recommend taking the issue to court and does not know if the horse park will eventually rent the property and use it for shows. The woman charged with murder in the shooting death of a man in Sharon last month is being held in the Mercer County Jail. 20-year-old Alexis Holmes did not enter a plea yesterday. The Newcastle woman's charged with criminal homicide in 24-year-old Khalil Hobson's death. Her bond was set at $2 million. She'll be back in court on June 26th. A fire destroyed a garage in New Bedford in Lawrence County yesterday. Firefighters got the call for a garage fire next to a house on the corner of New Bedford Sharon Road and Route 208. When they arrived, the fire was fully involved. It caused multiple explosions. It's under investigation. The Trumbull County Coroner's Office is reporting that in the first 3.5 months of this year, nearly twice as many people have died from drug overdoses compared to the same time last year. As of April 15th, there were 36 confirmed overdose deaths in Trumbull County. Last year, there were 14. The YSU Board of Trustees met this week to talk about campus security. Back on December 3rd of 2018, the campus was put on lockdown after a fight led to a man pulling out a gun and running off. New locks will be installed on all classroom doors by the start of the 2019 fall semester. This way, faculty members have more control in case of an emergency. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 2:30. Just ahead, more stimulating talk from the O'Charlie's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charlie's. For your home or business, call Mazza's Heating and AC in Girard, 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Skies remaining partly sunny throughout the day with a high to low 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low 60. Sunday, more clouds than sun. An isolated shower or a storm possible in the late afternoon or evening. The high near 80. Cloudy chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm Sunday night, a low 65. And showers and storms likely on Monday with a high 78.
Burnett Pool's financing event is happening right now. Take advantage of 0% APR for 60 months on all new hot tubs and above-ground swimming pools. Now's the time to own a hot spring spa, the world's #1 selling hot tub brand, or the perfect time to choose your new swimming pool. Visit Burnett Pool's locations in Cortland, Canfield, and Newcastle, or online at burnettpools.com. With low monthly payments on approved credit, it's easy to step into a new hot tub or above-ground pool.
Burnett Pools, we've got it all.
Hi, folks. Steve Bott from Mark Thomas Ford. This month, we are honoring those who serve with some extra special rebates. Tell them what's going on, Davey.
All military veterans and first responders get up to an additional $750 off, plus 0% financing is available and no payments for 90 days.
And don't forget, we have guaranteed credit approval, the Mark Thomas Promise. Combine those all together, David, and we have some of the best deals of the year. Stop out and see us at Mark Thomas Ford. We're 2 miles north through 82 Bypass on Elm Road in Cortland, Ohio, or check us out on the web at markthomasford.com.
Hey, folks, the numbers are in. Last year, Kelly Warren sold 384 homes in our area. How does she do it? Tune in Sunday mornings at 8 and find out how she can help you. Sunday mornings, 8 a.m., 570 WKBN.
It's the tech guy, Leo Laporte. Sunday nights at 6 on News Radio 570 WKBN.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer. This is your show where we get to talk about things that are happening in tech. They let us have this platform, talk about these things that sort of occur to all of us. And we become better users because we talk about these topics in plain sight, and we get people sort of like that are in a vulnerable state where maybe they're at a disadvantage, or they call themselves a neophyte, or they just don't know enough to feel confident about doing this. We give this platform to listen for, months and months and months, and they hear enough stuff that they can gain confidence. They can listen, you listen to one of these shows and a lot of the stuff goes right over your head, right? A lot of us are always in that same spot, or find ourselves in that spot. And through the repetition of listening to it's easier because you're not, nobody's pointing at you and saying, I'm smarter than you. Nobody's outing you for not knowing something that you think that you should know. You're not being compared to anyone. Literally, people who just got started listening to this show and people who've done this for 30 years listen to the show, and everything in between. So we let the people that are ahead of us talk about this stuff, and then we inquire and we talk about those things, and little portions of that make its way into our brain, and we become better users because of it. We have to put our, let those people around us and let them talk enough about it so that it starts inundating our brain, and we get better just for the repetition of hearing about this stuff. We use language that is common. If I used all, letters for everything, then, abbreviations and all that kind of stuff, you wouldn't ever pick up on it, because it would be, just like when you go to a doctor's office and I'll give you a KLT test and it'll be DMV, and you just won't pick up anything. I want you to understand this, because you become a smarter user when you have an understanding for this. So if any parts during these programs, you didn't quite understand, feel free to send me a text and ask me to slow down a little bit and re-explain, because I'd be more than happy to. There's nothing in here, I don't think, in this program today. It was all very common knowledge stuff, but you will hit some things that you just don't get, especially when I start doing talking about physics and time. I get that some of you out there just have no interest in hearing about that kind of stuff. But letting some of that stuff into our perspective opens up possibilities when we talk about the things in technology advances, because the two you're going to see in the coming years, decades, that these things are going to merge. And so having a proper understanding of where we're headed, the future stuff, and where we're at right now, getting an understanding, I mean, it totally makes sense to not be thwarted by this. So let's get back to the original topic, that we want to save our loved ones from being not just scammed, but to change philosophy on interacting with people that don't live in our house, right? This is your neighbor, your friends, your communities, and whatnot. And having the level of trust be extended to people that you do not necessarily know. Okay, so if somebody sends you an email, do you know that the person that sent the email is your friend? Or could it be that someone is using their account and sending it on their behalf? Has that ever happened? So when we talk about somebody's email getting hijacked, that's what they're doing, is they're sending email purporting to be a person to people who are friends with that person, hoping to trick them into saying, oh, Jane just sent me an email. Let me look at what Jane sent me, because they're using Jane, right, to trust the email that was being sent, rather than sending it from Sir Abu Dhabi, right, who you don't know, and you're not going to open the link, and you're not going to read the email, and you're going to delete it. So the objective with the person is to gain confidence, right? Extending something that they can get access to extend confidence to you. So that's what it ends up being. The first game in being able to know whether or not you can trust is to be able to reliably trust the source that the information or the data is coming from. So if someone's standing at your front door knocking at the door and they say, my name is John, right? First of all, I don't let interactions happen unless they can be sourced and trust, right? Just because someone knocks at your door does not immediately let them have access to you. They don't get to look in your front door. They don't get to have conversations with you. They don't get to take your lawn ornaments, right? Nothing coming on your property does not give you any benefits. I have to extend those benefits to you as if I trust you. And so, a lot of people could save themselves a lot of, the opportunity to be scammed just by stopping themselves by thinking that you owe the person on the other side. Just because you knock does not mean that I have to answer. Just because you make my phone ring does not make me have to answer. Just because you email me doesn't mean that I have to respond or read or click on. Just because means it gets you nothing, unless you can build a sourcing or a way of being able to extend trust to the people that you know. So here's some of the ways that you can keep yourself safe. And when it comes to digital things, okay, I can mask sources so that you think it's coming from somewhere and it's not really coming from that place. Like, I can call you right now from my phone, and I can put an app on my phone that will mask the number and make my caller ID say anything I want it to. So if one of your ways of making sure that the person calling is looking at your caller ID, and caller ID equals trusted source. So somebody calls and says, hi, I'm from, Discover Card. And then you look at the number, and while they're on the phone, you Google the number that came up on your caller ID and it says Discover Card. Do you now trust them? Now that you know that that caller ID means nothing because I can mask it and make it anything, now do you trust your caller ID? So now, if somebody calls you and they say they're from Discover and their caller ID says they're from Discover, what can you do next to make sure that they're from Discover? Hey, Discover, this is really important. If this is really important, I'm going to call you back on the number that's on my statement, right? And I'm going to put your extension. And what is your extension so I can get to you? You're going to know within about 10 seconds whether or not this person's legitimate or not. Because if they work for Discover, they're going to tell you the next things out of their mouth is either they're going to hang up on you if they weren't, they're going to disconnect you. Number two, they're going to say, oh, well, we work at this other department that you can't get to from the main number. You're going to hang up on them when they say that, because, then you're not really from Discover. If I call Discover and I can't get to you, then you're not really from Discover. So I'll say, okay, well, can you have someone that actually works and is at Discover call me, because I'm not going to do anything with you. And the third thing is say, oh yeah, you can call me right back. It's, my extension is 29734. Boom. You just kind of threw questions back at them that weeded out. It might have been completely legitimate. Their caller ID might have been right. They might have been who they said they were, but you were able to take it and prove the fact that they probably are from Discover. So one of the rules that we can put at the top is don't trust an incoming call because they all can be faked. What they say, what their caller ID, there's no way to establish who you just talked to is who they said. I mean, I'll tell you this. I didn't end up getting scammed, but I got walked into giving information to someone who I didn't really know if I was really talking to the person who I was. So this was a security company, Vector Security, and they my alarm panel. We were doing some electrical stuff, and my alarm panel went out. So they called me and said, "Hey, this is Vector Security. We lost touch with your alarm panel. What's your passcode?" I was like, "Oh, Vector Security, my passcode is blah." And I said, "Thank you." I thought, how do I know that was Vector? I mean, they knew that my panel went out. Okay, so that's pretty qualifying that a random stranger wouldn't have known that my panel had gone out because it just went out for the couple minutes that I was doing it, and they wouldn't have known. But still, that was really, I should have been, if I followed my own advice, I would say, Vector, I'm not going to give you that passcode on here. Let me call you back, and I'll give you that passcode. That's what I should have done. But I got walked right into it because I was in the middle of 5 other things, and it was obviously immediate to them because they don't want my panel to be disconnected from the rest of the network. So I had to tell them something because they told me that I had to tell them, but I don't really have to tell them. I could very easily say, screw the immediacy of right now. I will call you when I can and make sure that I'm talking to the proper people. But I did it too. So if I did it and I kind of know this stuff, how many people have you given information to that you gave a passcode out or you gave a number out and they just collected it and maybe they never even called you back? So I know it's happened. So the philosophy of just because they call you does not give them instant credibility. You have to decide what gives them enough credibility to say stuff to. So when an incoming call comes in, are you going to trust them just because they say they are someone or their caller ID is? Probably not. What's the only safe bet? You have to go to a statement that has their number and call the number. That will satisfy me. So here's another one, an email. How do you know if the invoice that's attached to this email really came from one of your vendors? Well, you don't know. Can I send you an email right now and make it look like it came from one of your vendors? Of course I can. So the one that you got, how can you be sure? Well, you're not going to open the attachment, right? Because you don't know if it's a virus. So I guess you could scan the attachment and see if it comes up as a virus. If it's an encrypted attachment, that's another red flag. But how can you really know? Well, you can call the person that and your vendor and say, "Hey, did you just send me an email with that invoice?" And if they say they did, then that's one way of attachment. Now you've extended that credibility to the people that you're sending it to. Now you know for sure. Can you open that attachment in a virtual machine so that if it infects, it doesn't do much? Sure, you can do that too. So you have to pick the appropriate response to how people are randomly sending you things and knowing if they're safe to be able to open, because you're probably engaging in a lot of risky things and you didn't even know they're risky. It's just a matter of time before that risk catches up and you do get hit with one of those things that ended up not being real, because your friends get attacked with a virus and then their email program sends emails that say, "I've got an invoice attached, double click on it." And you do it because it came from a source that you normally get invoices from. Or they'll say your bank statement or your UPS package delivered, or they'll always have something that, typically will intentionally trap us into a double click, open it up, see what's there. Right? And so you can do antivirus and that gives you a shot, like it may be 50. I did a test and I opened some viruses. Went to a virtual machine, put a bunch of viruses on there in email, and I would load an antivirus, and I double-click on the virus. And about 50% of the time that it totally caught it, like totally didn't let it do anything, and the other 50% of the time it was a hair late and maybe a little bit of damage or a little bit of infection or whatever. None of them let the virus just go and not unencumbered. All of them pretty much got in the way of the virus, but not all of them successfully not all of them were stopped before they successfully did something to the machine. So it gives you a percentage chance above having nothing else. You still got to have some smarts in your head in order to go in couple that with your antivirus. So if you're just, cavalier and double clicking on stuff because you've got antivirus, yeah, you got a coin flip. That's when it will do its thinking for you at about 50% of the rate. And that's entirely not good enough. But if I'm suspicious of the stuff that's calling and sending and texting, and I have antivirus, I got a better chance because I'm already counting out the ones that maybe don't look right or don't sound right. We had Facebook. We put ads out there that help companies promote their products, and we get a lot of responses back from places that are sometimes overseas. And their English is a little garbled, and the questions they ask are a little bit weird, and they phrase things a little bit weird. And a lot of times, the pursuit of selling something will overcome our good senses and look beyond some of the very obvious red flags that come up during those pursuits. And in this case, we were selling a product, right? And the person in really bad, terrible English, it said something to the effect of, "What product come to dock," or something like that. What product gets shipped to dock, or something of that effect. And so you're digging through there and you're trying to make sense of it. Are they inquiring about how long it would take to ship, or pricing? And we're filling in information that's not even there to try to make it more understandable or more palatable. And if you fill in too much of the information, you think you don't want to lose an opportunity to sell a product, but in reality, just saying, repeat the question. What do we really want here? You can ferret this out, but you use those red flags as even a higher level of cynicism from the person who called, person that emailed, or person that messaged or texted you. Put them through that same ringer. I know that there's a bunch of you that have probably overshared details on your addresses and email addresses and family names just by how you participate in there. So there's known stuff about you everywhere. The scammers have a pretty good book on who you are. And so there's a file out there on the dark side of the web that, probably knows your first and last name and where you're addressed, and they can cite all kind of common knowledge stuff that they've acquired about you. So it's, being a cynic is going to put a little bit of the favor back in your strategy because it's not as easily avoided. So, all right, we'll talk about your cell phone coming up in the next segment. But if you want to text me or call me, 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
Win tickets before anyone can buy them. To our 2019 iHeartRadio Music Festival, starring Alicia Keys, Cage the Elephant, Camila Cabello, Chance the Rapper, Def Leppard, French Montana, Halsey, Heart, Her, Miley Cyrus, Mumford & Son, Tim McGraw, Zach Brown Band. Our 2019 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Keep it here to win your trip to Vegas and set a reminder for our exclusive Capital One cardholder presale starting Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern for a limited time.
Find huge savings now through Sunday during Menards Crazy Day sale. Finish your projects with Rust-Oleum spray paints. Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover is $247 after rebate. Buy one Sun Moon Star Solar Light at $499 and get one free. Make your yard stand out with Forever Green Turf Food, $9.95. Relax in a hanging lounger, $129.99 after rebate. These deals are so crazy, they're available in store only while supplies last. So hurry in to save big during Menards Crazy Day sale.
Save big money at Menards.
So how is the retirement bucket list going? Copeland Oaks can help you find time to start checking off those exciting things on your bucket list. This is Dan Rivers. Choose a lovely, spacious ranch home or apartment and leave the mowing and the painting and the fixing up to Copeland Oaks. The campus offers golf, fishing, hiking, swimming, an active, fun-filled lifestyle. Copeland Oaks Retirement Community, located in nearby Sebring, just off 62. Find them on the web at CopelandOaks.com or visit the campus to see for yourself. Copeland Oaks Retirement Community, beyond expectations and within reach.
Hey, it's Ron Verb for Nature Stone. Never replace your basement flooring again. We've had a ton of rain, and when it comes to your basement, Nature Stone is the only answer. It's the only solution that will stand up to moisture, dampness, even flooding. You never know when that sump pump's going to fail. Let Nature Stone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. You'll love it. Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of June. Get up to 50% off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Naturestone floor.
It's time for Taylor Kia of Boardman, and the grand opening of Taylor Kia of Hermitage. Now open. Get the absolute best price on your new Kia and easy credit from the Taylor Credit Team. Check out our must-see inventory of all your favorite brand new Kias. Test drive the new 2019 Kia Soul or Sorrento today. Both top safety picks. Calling all trades. Don't make a $6,000 mistake. Taylor gives you up to $6,000 over Kelley Blue Book Fair Trade. Taylor Kia of Boardman.com and the all-new Taylor Kia Hermitage.com. It's time for Taylor Kia.
Well-qualified buyers with approved credit on select inventory. Down pay and term varies. See dealer for complete details.
Summer is approaching. Now it's time to kick things off right and heat up your summer dating strategy the right way with the Match app. Match has created millions of love stories. Number one in first and second dates. Number one in marriages. And when it comes to making babies, well, over 1 million are on the planet because of Match. The Match app actually gives you the chance to carefully review profiles versus quickly flipping through them. And you can view photos, read more about the people you see, build that early connection with that person who could be your forever person. Try for yourself. Download the Match app for free today.
Okay, first time we read this commercial, he got one, so I had to get one.
And we are both in love with this product.
The glass chair mat by Vitraza. They're unbelievable.
You know that junky plastic chair mat under your office chair or at home? Piece of garbage.
It's the ugliest thing in your office.
Vitraza glass chair mats are beautiful.
Durable.
Each one will support over 1,000 pounds, so it'll even hold me. They've got a lifetime warranty, and the way you feel rolling over smooth glass instead of cheap, crackly plastic, it's like working in $1 million office. And it's your office.
We got to mention this. Shipping is absolutely free.
Absolutely. Lifetime warranty, scratch-resistant, stylish Vitraza glass chair mats.
You can't get them at the office superstore. You got to order them direct at vitraza.com/talk. That's V as in value, ITRAZZA, vitraza.com/talk. You'll want to remember that website. There's a discount code waiting for you for 10% off, only at vitraza.com/talk.
Hi, folks. Scott Jones here from Youngstown Propane Fireplace and Patio. Ready to kick off another spring outdoor grilling season. As always, we've got all the best names like Weber, the All-American-made MHP grill, the charcoal-burning Big Green Egg, and the new Rogue by Napoleon, which is exclusive to Youngstown Propane, an absolute must-see. And for a limited time, assembly and delivery is absolutely free. 37 years in the Valley, get your grill from the pros at YoPro. That's Youngstown Propane Fireplace and Patio on Route 224 in Canfield.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. My name is Joe Danier, and I'm owner of Youngstown Computer. We do this on Saturdays, talk about things that are happening in tech. Last couple weeks, I've been sort of entertaining doing something in politics. I think it's ever since that we did the Dan Rivers show last week. I thought, there's got to be a contribution or purpose, some kind of involvement that I could do. So I'm not a political team player by any means. There isn't a side that I would even choose going into politics. So strike one against me is that neither of the parties would like me very much, because I am literally a problem solver that whatever data comes out is the data I go with. I don't care who it supports, whose feelings it hurts, I don't like the dance where, because you're on a team, you've got to be stupid and stick to the team. I'm not like that. So I would literally have to go to either side and say I'm playing, parts of what you like and lots of parts that you don't like. And so number one, I'm going to be hated by both of the political parties. So there's a contingent out there that just screamed yes, yay at the radio. But when politics is all about sort of winning, and the best way to not win is don't join a team, because it definitely is a team dance. So that's working against me. Secondly, my wife said that it's a terrible process that just basically takes good people and it wraps them up in a big ball and sets them on fire. And so if you want your character and everything, your personality and everything about you to be, ripped to shreds, go ahead and do that. If you don't want to do that, I'd stay away from that. So that's number two, really good reason not to. But I think you have a supreme advantage when your goal with politics is not necessarily to change the system. It's not to play on a team and do a dance. It's not to assimilate into it. Mine would be more of going into a system that just needs somebody to get a megaphone and try to inspire really smart people, tell them that and inspire them and persuade them to go out and do smart things regardless of any of these idiots are saying. And so when somebody says an idiot thing to you, you just get to shush them, right? And then people cheer when you shush them because I don't really care that the things you said 500 times that didn't get anything done. When you say it to me, I'm not going to really take that personal because my whole agenda here is just to say words into a big microphone and a big megaphone that get smart people to go do smart people things again. That's it. Not about me, not about the process, not about systemic changes, not about activism. It's like a rally for smart people to do smart things. So that would be my whole campaign, is to break smart people out of apathy and get them involved and don't pay attention to all these dumb people who have really good intentions but just don't ever get anything done. All right, we're going to come back, 330-729-9977, or you can text me, 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN.
He's sold more than 75 million records. Here comes the legendary Kenny G with a very special live concert performance. Saturday, September 7th at Packard Music Hall. Hear the songs that made Kenny G the biggest selling instrumental musician of the modern era. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com or the Packard Music Hall box office. Produced by JAC Live.
Here's what's happening. The attorney for Buckeye Horse Park thought there were just minor issues to be settled on a new lease with Mill Creek Metro Parks. However, park commissioners voted Thursday to stop negotiations. 27 First News reports attorney Daryl Markajon represents the horse park. He says this weekend a big pony show had been planned but was canceled when the horse park's lease with Mill Creek Metro Park was not renewed. After Metro Parks commissioners requested further negotiations, Markajon says a May 14th meeting produced what he thought were the makings of a deal. The Metro Parks Board of Commissioners, after hearing from Executive Director Aaron Young, decided to end those negotiations with the horse park. Markajon says he'll not recommend taking the issue to court and does not know if the horse park will eventually rent the property and use it for shows. The woman charged with murder in the shooting death of a man in Sharon last month is being held in the Mercer County Jail. 20-year-old Alexis Holmes did not enter a plea yesterday. The Newcastle woman's charged with criminal homicide in 24-year-old Khalil Hobson's death. Her bond was set at $2 million. She'll be back in court on June 26. The Trumbull County Coroner's Office is reporting that in the first 3.5 months of this year, nearly twice as many people have died from drug overdoses compared to the same time last year. As of April 15th, there were 36 confirmed overdose deaths in Trumbull County. Last year, there were 14. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 3. Cool your home for summer. Call Maz's Air Conditioning in Girard. 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Skies remaining partly sunny throughout the day with a high to low 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low 60. Sunday, more clouds than sun. An isolated shower or a storm possible in the late afternoon or evening, the high near 80. Cloudy chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm Sunday night, a low 65. And showers and storms likely on Monday with a high 78.
Hi, folks. Steve Bott from Mark Thomas Ford. This month, we are honoring those who serve with some extra special rebates. Tell them what's going on, Davey.
All military veterans and first responders get up to an additional $750 off, plus 0% financing is available and no payments for 90 days.
And don't forget, we have guaranteed credit approval, the Mark Thomas Promise. Combine those all together, David, and we have some of the best deals of the year. Stop out and see us at Mark Thomas Ford. We're 2 miles north of Route 82 bypass on Elm Road in Cortland, Ohio, or check us out on the web at markthomasford.com.
Are you putting your retirement savings in a 401k, IRA, or investment account? Then I have one word of advice. Stop. Experts warn of a stock market crash any day now, and you could lose 50% or more of your hard-earned savings again. But you don't have to lose a penny. There's a better, safer way to save for retirement, and you can learn about it in a free report. This method continues to grow your money even when the market tumbles. To get this free report, go to bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com. Bankonyourself.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-9336. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-9336. That's 800-444-9336. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-444-9336.
Just ahead, more stimulating talk from the O'Charley's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charley's.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show where you get to talk about things in tech. I got a text message over the last break. It says, I'm looking to buy a new Tesla electric car. I know that you have one. Do you have any advice? I'm also looking at the Chevy Volt. Could you give me some advice? That would be great. Okay, so I would say so what I know about the Chevy Volt is it has a electric motor and it also has a gas motor. And I think the version that I was sitting in front of had about a 40-mile range on the battery side, but it also had a gas fuel side. And so I think the Volt would be considered a hybrid because it's, not necessarily a full electric, where the Tesla doesn't have a gasoline portion at all. You're 100% electric motor, 100% battery powered. Now, we're sort of like in its infancy as far as pricing goes, the electric vehicles. The infrastructure is not 100%. So you're going to be in a waiting game for proper superchargers to pop up. If you're charging at home, it's no big deal. It's pretty on the mark now. It's probably more pricey than it will be in the end. You end up paying more for the vehicle and less for the consumption of fuels and maintenance costs. So you have to be able to front more money up, put money up front to be able to, over the course of ownership, be able to recoup that. So it's just like any other sort of green energy or renewable energy. You put the windmill up and it's like $20,000 and you have to, it takes you 20 years of electricity savings in order to regain that back. So you have to have a good bit of patience in order for that to happen. But and I'll tell you, like most like solar and wind and this battery power cars, I mean, it's probably about the same cost-wise, just done in a different way. So if you have the ability to put up a little bit more money for the car and, wait for that savings, it ends up being about the same as if you did the internal combustion engine and had your savings up front and had to pay fuel over time. One intriguing thing with the Teslas is they're proclaiming that the structure of the car is designed to be a 1,000,000-mile car. The batteries aren't made to be 1,000,000-mile batteries, but the car is. And so if I've never owned a vehicle for longer than 200,000, so I don't know what another 5 times what I own. It usually takes me, I want to say I was 100,000 in 2 years. Let's see, 20,000. So yeah, it'd probably take me about 15 years to be able to get to 1,000,000 miles. And I don't know that I'd ever owned a car. And I don't know that a car would survive Ohio roads for 1,000,000 miles, especially a consumer grade car. I mean, big trucks, that's one thing. They're built better, they're stronger, they're heavier and whatnot. But I mean, you've seen the potholes around here and the salt is just, it deteriorates these things. And so I don't necessarily, I think where the most of the car would survive 1 million miles, and that would be great if you could buy one car and it could last you 15 or 20 years. If you spread out the cost of the vehicle, then it's really way cheaper than a traditional car. But like I said, I think the future is in that, so I think that they are. But the important political topic that resurfaces when we go there, from an environmental standpoint, it's only probably a little bit better than having a gasoline engine, because you're charging this thing with electricity that is using a non-renewable source like natural gas or nuclear, right? So it's only a little bit better. It's negligible better. Now, if your collection source for fuels was solar, and you were using the fuel you were using electricity generated by solar panels to charge your car, then that's a different story. You're really off the grid, and you don't have any kind of consumption footprint when it comes to gas or electric. But I have to sort of suspend the fact that it's not much better, that it's possible to maybe get better. So if we go to Arizona and we just fill the whole state of Arizona with these really high efficiency solar panels, and then Arizona sells power to the rest of the country, and then so electricity in Ohio actually is sourced from somewhere where the sun shines a whole lot and it's super cheap. Now we're talking, and that might be the case. Or they might find out a way for the nuclear waste to do something with it, so that the power generated doesn't cause indefinite storage of toxic things that we don't need to deal with. I mean, eventually we might turn that into fuel for space travel. You never know. And so it's one of those things where it's a belief that that's where things are going, and you want to dip your foot in it. It's from a financial standpoint, it's probably not all that great. It's cool to have. The technology is really cool to have. So for me, people who like to tinker on that side of technology, it's a no-brainer. Go for it. That's where we're going to go. The more people we have in that depth, the better. But for people who just want something traditional that's no worries, it's cumbersome to own one. And because, parts are limited, repair facilities are limited, insurance is expensive, the cost of the car is expensive, refueling on road trips expensive. I mean, those are all the negatives down on a Tesla. And so I would say if you want you want to dabble in electric, but you still want to dabble on the internal combustion, then a hybrid's probably better off, because you get to still support the battery side of it. But for what I've heard, I mean, the batteries, the hybrids are just okay too. So my advice sounds wishy-washy as to what I would do, and it's you really have to believe in it, and you have to like the tech side to put up with everything that you have to put up with. That's my simple answer. Sorry for the extra explanation on something like that, but it's just truth. I don't necessarily think it's where it's going to end up being in the end. So there's a lot left to play out on that side. I mean, if you watch Tesla over the last couple months, you'll see that this is a roller coaster. And it occurs to me every once in a while that I might own a car where the company doesn't exist next year. What would you do with a car that stops advancing and stops having the support of the manufacturer? Because it could very, very easily happen. If the company becomes insolvent, I don't think that, and they're not producing cars, where's the advancement going to come from? So anyway, I could very likely own a car that's like, what was that car that they made? The Avanti. Could own an Avanti where it's cool to say you have one, but that didn't work. That didn't pan out. Anyway, so let's talk about your cell phone a little bit. So we were looking at statistics about people demographics right now and how they use the internet and they get their data. And surprisingly, about 80% of people getting their data happens on your cell phone. So your cell phone has become your computer. 20% of the time and 20% of people are using a desktop computer. Now, I use both, but I would say a majority of my time, a majority of my day is skewing because I have the phone with me, but I'm not doing very many useful things. I'm doing really useful things in the first hour of my day when I'm in a desktop, and then throughout the day I'm like checking things and I'm paying attention to things, but I'm not really participating much. So the data might be skewed a little bit because we're spending total amount of hours more on our phones as a computer, but I don't necessarily think we're doing the same types of things on those phones. But I'm asking people, our phones are really expensive. This thing probably cost $1,000 that's sitting in your hand right now, right? And when you ask people, what they use their phone for, a lot of what comes out of their mouth, the primary uses of their phone. Okay, making phone calls. Okay, messaging people. But there's a lot less expensive, less features on a phone that does the primary things that you do. So why does everybody buy such an expensive phone when 90% of what they do could be accommodated by a much less expensive version of that phone? Why are the feature sets so attractive to us? Why the stuff that we don't really use much on it become the reason that we buy it? I mean, and the companies that are selling the phones are geniuses at marketing. So I'm not surprised that you're buying features that you're not using. But considerations, when I run across someone saying, hey, I just make phone calls, so I bought a phone that just could make phone calls really well. You know, that's kind of surprising that you don't have a smartphone. That's kind of weird because everybody buys a smartphone. And so, you know, this $1,000 piece of equipment that comes with lots of stuff, nobody teaches you really how to use it. What ends up happening is you buy a phone and you dabble with the new features, but then you just end up doing what you've always done, which you text message, you go on maybe social media, Twitter and Facebook, and you take phone calls. That stuff could pretty much be done on any smartphone, not necessarily very expensive smartphones, but you have a very expensive smartphone, I'm willing to bet. So either an Android or an iPhone or a Windows phone. So I think what should be easier to get to is somebody that at least tells you the possibilities or gives you some weekly suggestions of about what more you could be doing, with your phone. And so I think in the future, we're going to invent this segment where I'm going to take something that I don't think any of you know how to do, and I'm going to talk about something that I do. And I might be wrong. Some of you might do this stuff, but there's going to be some people out there that didn't even know that those things were possible on a phone. So here's one, and this is true on an iPhone. I don't think I've ever tried it on an Android, but you can create a VIP list of your contacts. If you go through your contacts list, you can select people that maybe your close family and close friends. And once you establish that somebody's a VIP in your contacts list, then you can a lot of us that like to get done with work and mute our phones so that it doesn't get to ring and doesn't get to vibrate and doesn't get to ding. We want to, once we're disconnected, we want to kind of relax. We can put our phones into do not disturb. And when what that stops from happening is taking our attention away from family and dinner and relaxing and getting ready for the next day because our phone's not doing its thing anymore. But there's some people that are important, and if they call, we want to make sure our phone rings. So if we elect people to be VIPs on our list, it will bypass our do not disturb settings, and it will allow it to ring for those important people. So that is the purpose of the VIP, is that if you have a rule set of do not disturb, those people will come through. So, let's just say one of my employees sends me reports throughout the day, and I set them as a VIP. Well, during the day, that doesn't really matter. But what happens when a VIP sends me a text message is that their text message, it sends me an email, their email comes through as a notification on the front part of my screen, so I don't miss their email. I know I got a notification that this very important person sent me an email. That's very useful, so that if you pay attention to, if you there are certain people that if they have come in contact with you, that's probably pretty important. You make them a VIP, and then it draws your attention to them. We have 1,000,001 distractions with these things. You miss a lot of email that gets sent to you, because I know that I do. You miss a lot of voicemails and instant messenger, private messages on your social media. You miss all of this stuff because once you get so many, you get saturated with things that try to get your attention. When there's too many of them, none of them can get your attention. So this is a next level up of when you're pretty much maxed out on the number of things that are trying to get you to pay attention to them. This is a way to give some sort of one level above by you enacting or electing them a VIP in your contact list. Now, Android, I'm certain, has it. I don't know what it might be called. I'll probably go home, open up my Android, and see how you elect someone as a VIP. But this is, again, something some of you that own iPhones probably don't even know exists, and that's why I wanted to bring that up. But every week I'm going to try to bring up one of those things that, somebody's going to get a light bulb moment out there. And so if you have some suggestions about good tips and tricks of something that, can make a cell phone or a computer or a printer or something more usable to someone who's out there. Give me some suggestions. You can email me, joe@youngstowncomputer.com, or you can text me at 333-1570. And I'll compile those, and I'll make sure that we share them. So if you've got a good suggestion, send it my way. As I suggested the last couple of weeks, we're doing a big hiring push over this summer. I intend to probably have 3 positions filled for field tech. And I wanted to spend a couple minutes of describing what it is that we're hiring, so those of you who have abilities in the tech field know what I'm trying to dig for. And we've received a ton of resumes, and I really appreciate it. We got 4 or 5 of you queued up for interviews next week, and we have a whole host of different skill sets that we're going after. We pretty much break up what we do into 3 segments. We have your intro bench tech. This is a person that has a lot of technical theory. Maybe you learned A+ certifications and you've had some field experience, but you're sort of like the most novice in our tiers where there's a lot of learning that you have to do. And so the type of work that a tier 1 and a bench tech does for us is that I'm a process-based guy. And where most of us are the MacGyvers, you can set us in front of a computer and we can figure stuff out. What we do to keep our customers safe is we have processes that we enter information into so that we ferret out unknowns before we start getting into MacGyver mode. And it's a lot to expect from someone who does this from a living to slow themselves down because we want to get in there and start fixing stuff. And my process is to be able to say, is there anything in this process? I mean, people pay us a good penny to be able to come and solve problems for them. So we have to give them the most value for what they're paying us for, meaning that we have to be right a lot. We're like the level of a doctor, right? When a doctor has to, you don't want a doctor winging it because what they do is so important. You want them to be right a lot. Okay. So we put that pressure on ourselves to be able to be right more than we're wrong. Because I don't like doing things a second time. I don't like people having to call me back after I've done things wrong or something like that. So I make sure that if I'm going to be wrong or there's something that I don't know, I want to know it really quick so I can prepare for it. So I'm not in the middle of something and then realize I need something that I don't have and have to stop. That is the worst in our field, to not be prepared. And so part of our process is to teaching really smart people who are capable to take their capability and use this as sort of like a shield so that they can do what they do, which is solve problems in a way that gives value to the people that we serve. So that bench tech, that bench guy is basically going to learn that process and to hybridize how they do things in a one-to-one problem-solving mode with being able to wield what they know and be very consistent over a period of time. Tier 2, someone who's been in the field, but maybe they can solve problems and they can do processes, but they need a little help with, managing the workload, doing prospecting, physically working, one-to-one with customers. And then my tier 3, you've done this forever. You've nailed it. You know how processes work. You do relationships. You're all on your own. You don't really need much anybody dabbling in what you do. So if you're interested in applying, make sure you send your resumes, joe@youngstowncomputer.com, or you can call our office number, 330-259-7278, and let Carla know you're interested in sending your resume and then coordinate with her to get your information to us. Again, this summer we're hiring 3 of those field techs, all 3 of those positions, those tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. All right, we'll come back, take a quick segment here. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
What are your plans this summer? Biking, boating, relaxing in the shade? Don't let yard work stand in your way. Get a dependable new Toro from Ducat today. Whether you need an easy-to-use Toro lawnmower or a fast-cutting Toro zero-turn rider, let Ducat help you make your summer plans a reality. Ducat Sales and Service, Route 422 Warren, Route 224 Canfield.
Let yourself go to Ducat.
Enjoy the total comfort of a Shoreline or Summit Spa from BY Pools and Spas. Shoreline offers 7 models built to last and designed for comfort. Summit Spas offer passive impact therapy, advanced water care, even a Bluetooth audio system. Bring a sense of beauty to your backyard and serenity to your life with a Shoreline or Summit Spa from BY Pools and Spas. Struthers Road and 224 in Poland.
We're the one for family fun.
You know, folks, I was thinking about this over the weekend. I told my wife, I said, did I do enough for Window Nation? with the free Cedar Point tickets. I hope people took advantage, and I get in here and find out they've extended it. Folks, Window Nation has the best deal of the year right now. You buy one, you get one free. You buy two, you get two free. 4, you get 4 free. No limit. 0% interest for 5 years. There's more. You call today, you get a free in-home quote. You'll get a pair of tickets to Cedar Point while supplies last. Window Nation will come out to you within 24 hours, and here's what I'd like. They'll give you an exact price, not an estimate. They've got an A-plus rating with the BBB. Their windows fit 99.9% of the time. Here's the deal, though. You've got to call today. 5 years, interest-free, folks. 866-90-NATION. 866-90-NATION. WindowNation.com. And tell them Dan Rivers sent you. WindowNation.com. Do it today, folks. This is absolutely the best offer of the year. WindowNation.com or 866-90-NATION.
Now at the Stadium GM Used Car Superstore, keep your money in your pocket. Because right now you can buy over 200 great pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs with 0 down and have no payment till fall. We've got 50 cars under $10,000, 20 cars under $5,000, and over 20 great Chevy Cruises starting from only $10,900. And best of all, we're accepting every credit app. If you've been bankrupt, divorced, had unpaid bills, a repossession, or lost your job, we can help you get financed. Only at the home of 0 down. The Stadium GM Used Car Superstore in Salem.
Visit stadiumgm.com for details.
Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages? Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away. It was so fast. Now I'm speaking Spanish. Woohoo!
No wonder Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Try it for yourself and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language, like Spanish, French, or more. You can try Babbel for free. Go to Babbel.com or download the app and try it for free. That's Babbel, Babbel.com, or download the app to try it for free. That's Babbel.com. Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages? Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away. It was so fast. Now I'm speaking Spanish. Woohoo!
No wonder Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Try it for yourself and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language, like Spanish, French, or more. You can try Babbel for free. Go to Babbel.com or download the app and try it for free. That's Babbel, Babbel.com, or download the app to try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
Have you ever wondered, how do the smartest marketers cut through the noise? I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia, and on my new show, Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with today's most gifted disruptors.
But when I did this, people thought I was crazy.
There are really no other rules aside from, no full-frontal nudity. Go out there and do it.
I don't like to follow the trend of things.
iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, but don't take my word for it. Find Math and Magic on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. Someone over on Facebook Live was just talking about how solar takes about 9 years to pay for itself. And, reason I did a whole lot of experimenting with solar here in Ohio. I set up some solar panels, a little array outside of my house, did the calculations, bought all the equipment, figured out what the pros and cons and all that kind of stuff. And it was about 20, but the cost of the panels were about the longevity of the panels were about 20 years is what you can expect solar cells to be able to last over time. So you mount these on the house, you get 20 years of solar collection in the state of Ohio where the cloud cover is what it is. You expect to be able to reap back in about 20 years. So the cost of the panel is equal to what it would end up costing you. So as long as you can wait the 20 years, if you're going to have ownership, because I'm telling you that even in this area, if you have solar panels, it is a selling point of of homes, it's valuable. So even if it mathematically doesn't change a whole lot, you can go with you can front the cost of solar panels, which I think I paid about $140 for a 300-watt panel. And I just got 2 of them, so I was working with about 600 watts. Bought a power inverter to be able to charge a switcher to be able to send the current to a battery and charge it. And then when the battery was filled, to be able to send it to an outlet that I can run some devices. Now, the part of the setup, I was running a sump pump, so that if we lost electricity, I could run it completely off of what I stored off of the solar panel, which is a great test because it's a pretty big motor that runs a sump pump, but it's small enough that I could also always switch back and just run it off straight battery if I needed to. All right. Anyway, thanks for the phone call today. Appreciate it. And thanks for letting me vent and talk about these topics. I really appreciate all of you out there. And we'll see you next week. You've now listened to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. Have a great week.